What's going on, hikers? In today's video, we are going to answer the question, what is the big deal about this sleeping pad? If you're new to the channel, my name is Jeremiah Stringer, and here we talk about all things hiking and backpacking. So if you're into that kind of thing, consider subscribing to the channel. It's what we're all about. The subject of today's video, yes, is this sleeping pad, the Therm-a-rest NeoAir XLite. And it's basically a series, a top 10 frequently asked questions series on super popular gear, something that's very common you see on the trail. And today we're gonna answer 10 questions. I have scoured the deep, dark, scary depths of the internet to figure out what are the most common questions that people wanna know about this sleeping pad. Now, a little bit about it. It comes in yellow and it's all over these long trails, the Appalachian Trail, CDT, those kind of trails. Now, let's start off with this. What size should I buy? Now, you can find the specs wherever. I'll read them off real quick. The small, which is basically like the pad cut in half, is a 20 by 47 by 2.5. Basically what that means is it's 20 inches wide, but then it tapers to 18 inches at the bottom. It's 2.5 inches thick and it is 47 inches long. Now, I am 6'3", so that is not the size that I should buy unless I just want a torso length pad. The regular size is 20 inches wide. It's 72 inches long, so now I almost fit, because 72, what is that? 6 feet, right? 6 feet, 6 feet. So if you're over 6 feet or you're at 6 feet, I probably would get the longer version. And then it's 2.5 inches thick. By the way, the small is 8 ounces in the weight, if you're wondering about that. And the regular is 12 ounces. Now you could take that exact same regular that tapers to 18 inches and you could get the wide version, which starts at 25 inches wide and then tapers down to the bottom. And that is 15 ounces rather. And then the large is what I got, like the long version basically. It's 25 inches wide, tapers down to 18. Don't worry, your feet aren't gonna fall off. If they do, trust me, they'll wake you up because your feet will be getting cold. It is 77 inches long, so 6 foot 5 inches. And then it's 2.5 inches thick, and it is exactly 16 ounces, which is 1 pound. Next question, what is the best way to store the pad? On their website, this is by Therm-a-rest, it says that you should store it rolled up like this, and we'll talk about this here in a second, but you keep it in the nifty stuff sack, which I pretty much never ever use. Question 3, what is the temperature rating or the R value? So I'm not gonna bore you with the details of how you find this, but there is a standard that we use to measure what is the insulation value or R value of a sleeping pad. And this pad in particular is 4.2, which basically, if you're looking at this chart, it means it's borderline between like spring and fall weather, which is 3 seasons, and then your colder weather, like winter weather. Here in Kentucky, I can get by with it. I've taken it down to like 15, 20-ish degrees Fahrenheit, but I have gotten a little bit chilly at times, so just keep that in mind. Also, with that R value, if you buy one of these things used, which I probably wouldn't, but if you do, you could get an old model, and I think that's the 2015 version. They are 3.2. So make sure you're doing your research more than just this video whenever you're making your purchase. Next question, question 4, is it loud and crinkly? So word has gotten out that rolling around on these things, it's kind of like a space blanket inside. That's what's up keeping it warm, keeping you warm rather. So whenever you're rolling around on it, some people, it's went as far as waking them up while they're sleeping. But me, I've never had a problem with it. I don't think it's that loud or crinkly. And as they've done more and more generations and iterations of this specific sleeping pad, it is getting better and better. So I wouldn't worry too much about the noise, but that's just one man's opinion. Question 5, how is this pad for side sleepers versus back sleepers versus stomach sleepers? Yeah, I saw this question a lot, and I kind of combine them all. I am a side sleeper, and I never feel the ground underneath my hip or my shoulder. One thing that's been a problem for me being a side sleeper and using a pad on the ground is that if it is not thick enough, which like I said earlier, this is 2.5 inches thick, what happens is at night, sometimes the ground gets a little cooler and it feels like your pad's deflating a little bit, or maybe your pad's just not thick enough. Doesn't matter how much you fill it up, you're feeling your hip touching the ground. It never happens to me on this pad. In fact, I get on the pad after I've blown it up and I lay there and let some of the air out just to make it a little bit softer. So there's a pro tip for you. If you're a back sleeper, okay, some people said it's uncomfortable for back sleepers. I mean, I slept on my back sometimes. I prefer on my side with a pillow in between my knees, but I never had a problem with it. And then stomach sleepers, it's fine for stomach sleepers, right? It's basically just like a back sleeper, except you're flipped over. Question 6, what comes with the pad? Are there attachments for quilts, a stuff sack, a pump bag, a pump, a repair kit, etc.? Here's what comes with the sleeping pad. You get this repair kit that has an alcohol wipe, some instructions, and a couple of, I don't know, they're like little pieces of sticky tape that are made specifically to stick to this type of material. So that way if you have a leak, you can repair it. Then you get this stuff sack. Now, I absolutely never use a stuff sack. I did whenever I first got the bag, but then I was like, what's the point? They recommend that you use the stuff sack just so that, you know, it's helping protect the material on here, keeping it away from pointy objects. Next up, question 7, what is the weight limit? I looked and looked and looked. I'm gonna keep it real with you. There is no official weight limit on this. Now, currently, I am like 225, 230 pounds. So I don't have a problem sleeping on it. And I put a lot of weight on this, my entire body just pointed in one spot and never had an issue. So I don't know what the official weight limit is, but me, 230 pounds, never had an issue. Question 8, how is the pad inflated / can you use a pump? That is an excellent question. I'm glad I wrote it down. It has this valve on it, a wing lock valve, and you basically just literally unscrew it and you blow into it. But it is kind of weird because I don't know, you're pushing it closed with your tongue in between breaths, or you're having to pinch it closed with your finger, not pinch it, but push it, and it must have like a little ring in there, like an O-ring or something that seals it up so you're not letting the air out. So you can blow into it. It says it takes 14 to 15 breaths to blow it up, but I'm telling you, those must be some massive, like maybe you play the trumpet, or I mean the tuba or something like that, and you have massive lung capacity, or a marathon runner, because I'm telling you, I'm not blowing this thing up in 14 or 15 breaths. An alternative, you can make your own pump bag, which is basically a bag that has a seal on the end that you can attach here. There's some videos, if I can find one, I'll link it in the description. But you like catch the wind and then you put the end of the bag on here and you roll it down. Then you catch some more wind and you roll it down. You can do that, it'll save you some breaths. Or my favorite option, and a couple of my buddies let me use theirs while we were in Colorado, because blowing this thing up at, I don't know, 12,000 feet, it takes a lot out of you. Last thing you want to do after a long day of hiking. They sell these little like mini pumps by Therm-a-rest. It pops open and you pull out just the part that attaches to the valve, and it automatically kicks on. It takes 1 or 2 AA batteries, I think. In my opinion, it's well worth it. I am going to buy one to use with this sleeping pad, because I'm too lazy to blow it up myself. Question 9: how good are the air valves, and do they hold air well? I've never had it to leak on me ever, so hopefully that answers that question. Question number 10: can you use this pad while backpacking with a dog? In fact, my wife and I both we have the exact same one. We both got the like long wide, the 25-inch wide, which I would suggest if you're asking my opinion. And the dog slept in between us. They never popped them. I could see it happening. Maybe if your dog, maybe you just cut its claws or something, and the tips are kind of pointy, or it's got a hangnail or whatever have you. It could theoretically pop it, but I don't know if I'd let my dog lie on it with me. But I don't see any reason why you couldn't use it in the same tent as your dog. So hopefully you've enjoyed this episode of the series. If y'all have any more questions, comment them below. If there's anything you want to suggest for the top 10 frequently asked questions series, comment that too. If you've enjoyed, give me one of these, subscribe to the channel, and we'll see you in the next video.